Shalom, shalom. Kol halalim la Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Kwadash. So, okay, 1 second. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone, right? And I also like to add saying shalom, shalom to the prophets of our body as well, you know. But first and foremost, all praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Abba Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak. And once again, double honors to the apostles and elders and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the prophets of the body. Shalom to the 144,001 third. Shalom, shalom, shalom. And now, I was watching one of the videos of one of the prophets of Great Millstone. I just subscribed to it yesterday. I thought I subscribed to pretty much every Great Millstone channel. But Brakti Habashim Shai, there was another golden nugget, I found yesterday, another channel, and an excellent lesson, man, given by one of the prophets. I believe, did he say it was from the Dallas branch? There's so many brothers out there, and they're churning out video after video. Sometimes you can't keep up. But it was an excellent lesson, nevertheless. And he brought out the news in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, which I'm sure other brothers have as well. Okay, so with regards to the fire at Nottoway Plantation ignites online celebration, as well as painful reflection. Okay, obviously there's numerous articles with regards to different online presses and other media outlets. Okay, this is the one I found, and I just initially clicked on this. All right, this is from the 24th of May. All right, what's today? 25th, right? Oh, no, it's 24th. Okay, it's from today then. It's June next week, guys. June. It's June. Anyway, now, as the prophet said of Great Millstone, right? This is an omen, right? Now we're approaching the 250th year as well of America, right? Obviously, America was there. These crackers, these Edomites and heathens, they came over in the 1400s. But the solidification, that sort of like foundational stone of putting America under the banner of more of that sort of Masonic path, if you want to call it that, by the so-called Illuminati, the banking families, was 1776 in May. And it's May. Oh, and by the way, Salaki for the it just occurred to me that 1776 was when what was it called again? Just click on here. Just look into it again. 1 second. The Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, 1776 May. On this day, the Illuminati. All right. On this day. Okay, May the 1st. All right. So, May the 1st. What does 1776 signify for America? In the United States, 1776 is a pivotal year making the birth of the nation. All right? Birth of a nation, 1776. And also on the 1st of May, 1776, the Illuminati, the modern day conspiracy theorist favorite bogeyman, is founded in Bavaria. What the hell is Bavaria? I guess they named. Okay, founded in Bavaria. Okay. That was in May as well. Okay, Declaration of Independence, 2nd of July. Then 2 days later, on July the 4th, they signed the Declaration. Okay, so at May the 1st was the Adam Weishaupt 1776 Illuminati, Bavaria. And then July was 1776, signing of the Declaration of the Independence, right? And then the slave plantation burns down in May. Burns down in May. Let me see what day it actually got burnt down. What's it called? The Nottoway Plantation. What day was the Nottoway Plantation burned down? Okay, the Nottoway Plantation fire, a significant event, occurred on May the 16th, 2025. May the 16th, 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 means completion. Okay, it was on a Friday. On a Friday as well. Okay. The fire engulfed much of historic Plantation House, a structure with a deep legacy of slavery. Despite efforts by numerous firefighters, the blaze resulted in a total loss. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Can you imagine the amount of death and blood in that place, as well as all of America? Okay. So, I mean, I'm trying to just spiritually look at different things. All right. 1776, Adam Weishaupt, Bavaria, Illuminati. Okay. And then you got 1776. The Declaration of Independence, right? We're approaching the 250th year, which is next year, which will make it 250 years on July the 4th when the Declaration of Independence was signed, right? Okay. And a year before that 250th year, okay, the plantation fire, the plantation burns in May when the Illuminati was, the Bavaria chapter, if you can call it a chapter, was founded in 1776. All right. And what the elder also brought out in the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Bashem Yashar, which other prophets I'm sure have also, is that there's a term. Oh, yeah, it's antebellum. All right. Antebellum is, okay, chattel slavery in the United States, antebellum era plantations. Okay, antebellum, which means pre-war. Pre-war meaning prior to the Civil War. Okay. And the fact that this burnt down pre-war, Revelation 11:14, we've got the last war to go. There won't be a World War IV because if they say World War IV, it'll be fought with sticks and stones, right? But after World War III, hey, Esau going into slavery. The so-called white man, the heathen nations too, Jacob will be ruling. All right, so this is pre-war. So pre-war, this has been destroyed. America hits its 250th year next year. So, captivity is accomplished. And then I have to go out this article as well. The average empire lasts 250 years, as brought out by Apostle Tahar and the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. Remember, what I'm saying is just basically reiterating what our elders and prophets have brought out in the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. It all makes beautiful spiritual sense, man. Right? Average empire lasts 250 years. A spiritual there that they got kind of like a rendition of that plantation, the White House, and Mount Seir as well. America will turn 250 years in 2026. How does that stack up with previous empires? All right. Let's see if there's anything of significance I want to put in there. I don't want to. The Achaemenid Empire was instrumental in some of the world's greatest inventions until inventions and lasted until Alexander the Greek. I'll call him the Greek since he's not the Great. Alexander the Greek defeated Darius III in 330 BC. Thus, about 220 years, slightly less than the average length of empire, 250 years. Okay, but yeah, on average, it's about 250 years. Okay, so see how the pieces are coming together spiritually, right? And then you got the plantation. Look how similar it looks. All right. Obviously, we're coming most, because this is Edomite Empire, right? Esau's empire is built upon a Romanesque Mount Seir type structure and look, representing their empire. If you even watch shows like Fresh Prince of Bel Air from the 90s, you see the house on the outside very similar to this, because it's representing that colonial type Mount Seir type vibe, Even though the White House was designed by Benjamin Banneker, I believe, who's a Jake, even though Jake designed all this, because Jake puts a flavor in it, right? Even in wickedness, Jake puts flavor in everything. Jake wants, I'm talking about so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, who are the bulk of the Israelites, all right? Not forgetting our brethren abroad, everywhere else. Deuteronomy 20, verse 64, we're scattered to the four corners of the earth, okay? But, Jake designed that, okay, the so-called black man, all right? So, definition of antebellum: occurring or existing before a particular war, especially the U.S. Civil War. All right. And omen: what is considered an omen? An omen is an event or happening that you take as sign of something to come. What's to come? All right. This is the demise and in real time of the so-called white man's empire. All the signs are there. All right. All the stars, the famous people are falling. Movies are not good no more. Hollywood is falling, failing. All right. Remember that movie Down and Out in Beverly Hills with Nick Nolte and Richard Dreyfuss, the Amalekite? Do you remember? And they had like a Northern Kingdom woman as a servant, a nice looking one, and she was just his concubine, Richard Dreyfuss's concubine. That was their empire. That was their rulership. That's how they used to live. Now all these honkies and crackers are down and out in Beverly Hills, all fucking homeless and shit. All right. And rightfully so. America is one big homeless camp. Okay. And I believe it's an elder from the elder from North Carolina. I think it's GMS North Carolina, 777. The elder makes the lessons early in the morning before he goes to work. You know what I mean? He said that 75% of America is not working. That plus everything failing, plus everything falling, plus the rumors of wars, earthquakes. Companies closing. Even my mom just mentioned to me yesterday. I was talking to my mother. She went with one of her friends to buy some shoes. Like women's shoes as they get older and all that. More comfortable for their feet. Women that are aged, right? And there's another shoe store closing, which is not just a mom and pop store. It's like a significant chain here in the UK and in Europe. She goes, yeah, they're closing on June the 1st, and so I'm going to go there. It's a sale, right? And everything was rock bottom prices because everything is closing now, and our store's closing June the 1st. So a lot's happening in June, man. We're going to see what the world looks like after June, after June 2025. Oh hell, after July the 4th, 2025. Barakti Habashim, this thing amplifies, right? So Revelation 11:14 is World War III. You understand? Now let's go to some other images as well. I've got in my mind here. Okay, look at the White House, similar to Mount Seir. Which is it? Mount Seir. That's Mount Seir, the home of the Edomites. All right, Rakti Al-Bashimashah 144. Mount Seir, sometimes referred to as Edom, is a region described in the Hebrew Bible as the home of the Edomites, which is the so-called white man. The Edomites were descendants of Esau and occupied the area south of the land of Moab in the you always got to put that trans word in the area in the Transjordan, in the land of Moab in the Transjordan. Esau's okay, in the Transjordan. I've got to look into that word there, Transjordan. The region is also mentioned in connection with the Israelites' journey through the Sinai desert, where they faced challenges and conflicts with the Edomites. Just like today, these crackers are against us. That hate is there because they want that birthright, which wasn't for them anyway. All right, that's Mount Seir. All right. Okay? That's where their first home was, Mount Seir, the mountains. Then we pushed these heathens into the Caucasus Mountains. All right. Now we saw the White House. We saw Mount Seir. Look at that. Look at that. Let's go to scripture now, man. Lamentations 4:22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished. The Lord is saying that your punishment is done. All right. Those prison doors are about to swing open. Princes and kings in exile will be going home soon. All right. The same way Thor was banished by his father in the movie. Esau, listen, man, Esau looks at the Bible, man. They know the Bible. They know who you are, Jake. Okay? It's a thief. It's like a thief stealing your money, right? And he's got it in his car boot, but then he's walking up to you, but he's pretending to be a friend walking up to you and saying, oh, you found your money, you found your money. And the person's trying to find their money thinking, nah, man, I don't know where it went. Some piece of SHIT stole it, you know? But the thief is right in front of you, smiling, thinking his money. I got his money. He ain't gonna get it back. You know? I know the truth. He ain't gonna get his money back. Right? But Jake, like Jake in the spiritual sense, right, knows that something's missing, and Esau knows what it is, but Esau's not gonna let it be known that, yeah, you are the Israelites. You know? Lamentations 4:22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. All right? The Lord said, we're not going to go into slavery no more. This is the last round. This is it. We're going to get off that merry-go-round of, not merry-go-round. We're going to go off that, I'll use a different term. We're going to get off that misery-go-round. There's something called a merry-go-round when your children, what we call in the UK, the roundabout, right? In parks. They used to have them in the parks in the 80s when I was a child, but, they don't have it so much no more because everyone's scared their children will get hurt, right? What they call a merry-go-round. Yeah, the Lord's going to take us off that misery-go-round. No more misery. Lamentations 4:22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. The Lord is going to discover the sins of these Edomites, man. That's why these Edomites are getting it right now. It's starting from, it's like all these Edomites, it's like you got like a bunch of Edomites and all of them are getting it in different ways. Obviously, you've got still the well-to-do Edomites that are still so-called holding on to the little bit of happiness and their extra homes and their extra vehicles and paying off their daughters' college fees, without hindrance and worry and paying their bills, and got a cellar or a basement full of food and drink, and they've got extra wine, whiskey, liquor, all that. They're living good, so to speak, but they know something's around the corner, but it's not affected them yet. They're probably, they're probably commiserating, talking, Edomite families and couples at their dinner table. Hey, honey, how much money you got? Yeah, work's still okay at the moment. I think I've got my job for another 6 months. What about the 401k, and what about this, that, and the third, your pensions, and how much money you got saved? We're okay. Esau probably saying that to his wife. If I lose my job, we're okay for about another year. I got $225,000 saved up, and how much you got, honey? Or the woman might say, I got $90,000 saved up or something like that. We might have to downsize or sell one of the houses. So you got people that are going through that sort of phase, the ones at the top. Then you got the people right at the top, the elites. Yeah, they're suffering as well, which is rightfully so, because they're trying to put that, they're trying to puff up their chest, but they're suffering in terms of they're all suffering mentally. All these Edomites are getting different types of dreams and visions of Israelites ruling over them, putting them into slavery, especially the elites. Are you telling me they haven't had dreams and visions of the Lord returning, whooping their ass, torture? Other Israelites have seen teaching on the screens of YouTube or on the streets, also with spiritual power ruling over them and whooping their ass. They're having those dreams, and guaranteed they are. And also these lower level underlings, if that's a term. They've had those dreams too. All right. Wasn't it that racist? Was it that KKK member? His son had a dream where, uh, uh, yeah, their son had a dream that the angels were black, and the Lord was black, so-called black, Yahweh Shai, how he really looks, and how the angels really look, and the Edomites in the kingdom were playing basketball, and they were our entertainment. You know, real trading places. These Edomites are having them dreams, man. All right, and a lot of these elites, right, have gone into their bunkers already. You don't see them on the forefront no more, do you? You don't see them doing any kind of Illuminati-esque or Illuminati or any kind of interview anymore. Oh, hello, Lord Rothschild, blah, blah, blah. You know, when they're in the UK, some British Edomite reporter or some Irish Edomite or Irish reporter trying to interview them. You don't see that no more, do you? You used to see that a lot back in 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, so forth and so on. Now, recently, in the last couple of years, have you seen them? I haven't seen them. You know, in the forefront. Now the Queen done, they say, died. Right? I've got my theory on that. She could be alive, probably in the bunkers and shit. You know, this whole kingdom is falling, man. You think the royal family is loved? They were chucking eggs at Prince. What the fuck is that ugly motherfucker's name? Prince Charles, man, when he became king. They were chucking eggs. Watch the video of his mother getting in the coronation in the 50s, Queen Elizabeth, when she became queen. And then King, what's his name again? King Charles, him becoming king. Look at the difference. People don't care about the royalty anymore. All right? Every part of society hates a so-called white man. They can put up a facade, but everybody hates them. All right? We are looking at the downfall of this Edomite world, man. Ecclesiastes 3. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. So the Lord is plucking up that which was planted, man. The Lord can bring down another, bring up another, you know, the way the Lord did to us. The only reason these crackers have power is because Yahweh Shai wanted to use them as a whooping stick for us. You know, that's the only reason the so-called white man has power, because we went off. And that was all done by design anyway. The Lord let us go off so we learn evil from good. You know? And along with Esau doing that, Esau had a helper. Who was Esau? Esau's Batman. And his helper, Robin, who's the so-called black woman, added salt to the wounds. You know? So the Lord is plucking up, man, that was planted. And Esau's kingdom is being plucked up. All right? Let's see if there's anything else I want to add scripture-wise. Let's go to Psalm 126 first. When the Lord Yahweh Shai turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Let me read that again. When the Lord Yahweh Shai turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Verse 2. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord Yahweh Shai hath done great things for them. Verse 3, the Lord Yahweh Shai hath done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Verse 4, turn again our captivity, O Lord Yahweh Shai, as the streams in the south. Verse 5, they that sow in tears shall reap in joy. Verse 6, he that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. All right? You know, we sowed in tears, we're going to reap in joy, man. Okay? And we feel that little bit of an exhilaration here and there. We're pretty much downtrodden most of the time. The hopeful elect, whoever you are scattered to the four corners of the earth. And, or the elect scattered to the four corners of the earth, you know who you are. right? But we have that joy when we think about the kingdom, when we do our prayers, After prayers in the morning, we feel energized, We're going to reap joy soon, man. All right? As much as, that's why everybody's nostalgic. Everybody's thinking about the past. Oh, I want to go back to the 70s. YouTube's the closest thing to the time machine. You ain't going to go back, cracker. You ain't going to go back to those good days where you could have a good job, earn beautiful money, have a woman at home. Your woman kept the children in line and your school was at the end of the block, all in your own Edomite type area where you felt safe, where you could keep the doors unlocked, where you just got one thin, flimsy wooden door between the outside and the inside, and nobody dared to come into your neighborhood because you had coppers and private security, whatever, gated neighborhoods, all that. You felt safe, where you could go back and lie back on your recliner and shit, your lazy boy, feel safe, watching horror movies. That's why you crackers, you Edomites love horror movies, because you don't have any tribulation. What did the Lord say? They're not in trouble as other men. You Edomites are not in trouble as other men. You have this is your kingdom. This is your kingdom of heaven, but it's ending. You're not going to rule again, so-called white man. You heathens too, Elam. You had your time, man. Persian rulership, captivity, whatever. Right? We were there. All right. Yeah, a lot of our people are there in the Persian rulership. I believe my forefathers came from the Persian captivity. Jake dealing with Elamite women, and from there left their seed, so forth and so on. We're everywhere, man. Isaiah 11 and 11. The Lord's going to scoop us up, man. Second time round from all the places the Lord mentioned in Isaiah 11 and 11. Esau's not in trouble, man. This is their kingdom. Have everything easy and shit. They're young. As soon as they graduate college. I remember 25 years ago. So-called white man, all these young motherfuckers, they just finish school, college or whatever and get a great job. I remember that. And sometimes it was just by word of mouth, because, Edomite fathers know each other. Oh, yeah, give my son that position in that bank or whatever, You start off as a teller in the company and you got a degree. And a cracker who's like probably 2 years younger than you would be like on a supervisory management type level. But now you know why you went through these things or whatever. But now that time is ending. So-called white man suffering. Now they want to be cool with you. Now it's like we. Where was we 100 years ago? Where was we 200 years ago? Huh? Now these same old crackers that be cool with you in the supermarket queue or whatever, right? They want to have a little banter with you, talk with you. These same motherfuckers, right? Right? Were skinheads 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Going around wog bashing, Paki bashing, nigger bashing. Right? If it beat up heathens and Elamites, I don't give a shit. But amongst those Pakis, so-called Pakis, there were actually Israelites there too, amongst them. And the ones that fought back and beat some of these Edomites up, that had balls to fight, all right, those are Israelites. All right, I know so because I grew up in a part of London where most northern Indians, right, where bulk of the Israelites' slavery was, are probably the best warriors in India, and I joined the Indian army in droves. Just the way, same way, blacks and Hispanics and Southern Italians joined, and the Irish joined the American army. Jake is everywhere. Remember that, okay? You telling me Asid isn't there? How beautiful Indian girls are and Persian women are. You seen those Bollywood actresses? The same way Jake deals with Indian girls today and has children. Hey, they were doing the same thing, time ago. Left that seed there, that royal seed. And even before that, They're not in trouble, man. This is their world. These devils, man. And they're suffering now, and rightfully so. Fuck these honkies, man. Some of you Jakes are soft because, the Lord made us in a real sort of tender way. We're real merciful people. And Jake might think, oh, look at that old Edomite, let me feed that Edomite, whatever, Yeah, I understand that. The Lord made us merciful. That's why the Lord has to put that anger in us to really amplify it so we can get at these devils, man. You know? Because some of us are too damn merciful. But, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. You can't do a damn thing anyway until Yahweh Shemashai gives that green light, man. All right? So don't get simple. All right? Even helping your own, you got to help out the person that, is going to do good. You can't just help out anybody, man. You know? We're talking about our own people. I'm not going to help out a damn heathen. If the person looks like a heathen, but one of our people, Yahweh Shemashai will let you know. Spirit, you just know. The Lord will knock on your brain, man. The Lord will, yeah. Help him, but be careful, man. Right. So, out with the old, and the kingdom of heaven is the new, It kind of reminds me of that movie Django, man. You see Don Johnson where he's standing at the balcony there. Then you see I spiritually when I watch Django, that the German doctor guy, the dentist guy, I see him as an Israelite foreigner with Jamie Foxx. I thought, okay, because Jake ruled Germany heavy, right? And there's in Germany, bruv, a lot of those German women that look like Edomite women that come onto you in a real heavy, because our women have wanton eyes, the so-called black woman. A lot of those white women that have those wanton eyes up there in Germany, those big bosomed, really freaky. Bro, listen, I've been to Berlin. They like men of color, man, and they're spiritual as well because they gravitate towards Jake a lot more. That's why a lot of Jake men, American Jake men, especially the so-called black man, gets married to a lot of German women. A lot of those German women are Jake. All right. I mean, most women over there are freaky anyway, so it's a different spirit up in Germany. But nevertheless, that guy in that German guy in Django, I think that I watched the movie a couple of times. I think this motherfucker, he's a Jake, man. He's a Jake that looks like an Edomite, and he's cool with Jamie Foxx, and he's thinking with a level head, and he recognizes the contributions of so-called black people, and he's humble to a certain degree. And I thought, okay. And the fact that they made him into a German, they could have made him into like a so-called cool Irishman or an Italian or maybe just a so-called white guy. But the fact that they choose Germany, and these Edomites knew that Germany was very swarthy at that time as well. But nevertheless, yeah, this scene here, right? I'm sorry, this scene. Yes, I mean this picture here. Don Johnson will be standing there, and then the carriage would roll up, and then there'll be like Jamie Foxx in his blue outfit on the horse, and then he got Doctor whatever his name was, man, the dentist guy, in his carriage. It looks like that, doesn't it? Man of blood and guts, this place must have seen, man, as well as other plantations, man. Oh yeah, I didn't read the article. Let's see what it says here. Fire destroyed a sprawling mansion on a former Louisiana sugar plantation last week. After a fire engulfed a mansion at Louisiana's Nottoway plantation, one of the largest remaining pre-Civil War houses in the Deep South, where scores of enslaved Israelites labored. Okay, African is not a fucking term at that time. Okay, if you look at the slaves, it didn't say Africans for sale. All right, it said Negroes for sale. Okay, for the most part. Let me just see if there's anything else there. Slave auction blocks in America, pictures. Human slave auctions block people on this. Slave auction block. On this site, slaves were bought and sold. Somebody crossed out slaves, but people, human. Well, they didn't consider you human. Don't they call you 2/5 of a human or something like that? Or 3/5 of a, something like that? What's that saying? They don't consider you human, do they, Jake? Or they call you goyim, cattle. What is the term? 3/5 of a human or 2/5 of a human in America? Okay, they counted the Constitution that counted enslaved people as 3/5 of a person, right? They call it, yeah, they didn't 3/5 of a person. That's what they count you, right? I just want to see if they say they don't say no Africans fucking sale, man. Let me just find it. Slave auction signs in America, 1800s, 1900s. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this is Africans here. Sugar and cotton plantation slaves, Tuesday and Wednesday. All right. To be sold and let. Slaves, male and female. To be sold, a cargo of 94 prime healthy Negroes. Where do you see the term African at? Africa is not even the term, it's a land of ham. Okay? Leo Scipio Africanus was a so-called white man. So how are these people so-called white? Or they're giving them a fake title. We're known as bywords. So African is just another damn byword. So it was not Africans for sale. Okay, it was Israelites. All right. And all the people, if you look at all the manifests of these the slave ships, all the names of all the slaves within those ships had Hebrew names, Israelite names. All right. And it wasn't no fake ass bullshit like Goldstein or Silverstein or Rubenstein or Diamondstein, whatever the fuck. It was none of that bullshit. It was real, authentic, Lashwan Kodash Hebrew names. All right. Okay, where scores of enslaved Israelites labored, video footage of the combusted landmark lit the internet ablaze with mass jubilation and consternation over the weekend. For some, it was a moment to celebrate what they saw as centuries deferred vengeance for enslaved ancestors. There was no shortage of memes and humorous social media posts to ignite the celebrations. From video of the plantation's burning mansion set to the R&B hit song Let It Burn by Usher to other footage with the volume of burning wood cranked all the way up to trigger a cozy autonomous sensory meridian response. Went and watched an Ottaway plantation burn to the ground. Historian Mia Crawford Johnson wrote in the Instagram caption of a grinning selfie taken Thursday across from the burned mansion near the banks of the Mississippi River. For others, it was a moment of sadness. Nottoway Plantation has for years been a venue for weddings. Okay. They're trying to build their foundation on blood, are they? They're venue for weddings. Okay. Well, obviously, listen, if any Israelites, so-called black people, were using that place as a venue for weddings, it's simple, man. It's simple. My assumptions would be mainly Edomites using that place. All right. Especially Edomites that have everything good going for them. They like to be, pompous. Oh, yeah, this is our forefathers' legacy. We once ruled like this. One day I'm going to have a big house like this. That's the big house. For others, it was a moment of sadness. Nottoway Plantation has for years been a venue for weddings and other events celebrating cherished milestones, not to mention proof of the ingenuity and skill of the enslaved people held on the plantation has been reduced to ashes. Well, everything's going to be reduced to ashes. America's going to be reduced to ashes. This is a prime example of, a little omen of America being burned to smithereens also. Nothing's going to exist. Where nothing's going to exist in that house, nothing's going to exist in America. Preservationists say the jubilant reactions to the charred mansion reflect the trauma and anger many people, especially Black Americans, still carry over the history and legacy. Black people, Black Americans, especially us call them Black, especially Israelites, especially Judites, still carry over the history and legacy of chattel or cattle slavery in the United States. Antebellum, which means pre-war, Civil War era plantations were built under grueling conditions on the backs of enslaved Israelites, people, and many are now sites of honor on the National Register of Historic Places. The whole damn world was built on the back of Israelites, every captivity. We made it great. You think America would have been so-called great if it wasn't for the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian? These crackers are corny and boring and disgusting. All right. The only thing decent about there's nothing decent about an Edomite. You know, they might have a couple of all right looking women, but they'll be concubines in the kingdom. But the rest of these Edomites ain't shit. They're lower than a worm, and a worm has more value, man. And the Lord called us a worm, Jacob. And how much more less than a damn devil? So like the Lord Yahweh Shemashah called Jacob a worm Jacob, right? And what do you think the Lord calls the Edomites? They're a nobody people. They're a no people, man. You know, they're the real, they're a nobody. They're nothing. Okay? A bird shit has more value than an Edomite, man. You know? Bird shit at least, drops in the soil and it gives nutrition to the soil. You know? Or cow dung does nutrition, What does Esau do? Fuck the whole world up, man. But they'll be a good commodity in the kingdom. They're going to be used as slaves. And they better do their work right, too. No, they haven't done work, better get them backs in gear because they like to work out and take TRT and all types of steroids and shit. Oh, let me do my PR today. Let me squat these 450, 405 pounds or whatever. You'll be doing a lot more squatting in the kingdom, boy, I tell you. On your backs, cotton, whatever we ask you motherfuckers to do, you're going to do it. And you're going to do it with relish and passion. You're going to do that work with a smile. We're going to make you smile. You like to say to Jake when he gets a job, smile when you're dealing with a customer. Show customer service. Or when you're answering the phone, if you do telesales, for example, right, or some kind of customer service job, smile while you're on the phone. The customer can feel, needs to know that you're smiling, you're happy too. You get it, or if you're a student, you get a job at some kind of fast food place, even though, whatever, how many few are still available. Smile when you speak to the customer. Eye contact. Yeah, Esau, we're going to make you smile in the kingdom while you're picking that cotton, with a stomach full of one slice of bread, and a glass of water. We're going to run you, man. We're gonna, like a car running on low fuel, running on fumes. You're gonna run on fumes every day, Esau. You're not gonna be satiated or satisfied in the kingdom. I'm barely gonna keep my slaves alive, man. I hate you, motherfuckers, man. We're gonna have spiritual power. We're gonna know what you did, who you were in every captivity, man. We're gonna know who you are, man. It could be, smallest child, Edomite rat. We're gonna know what they did. So that warmth won't kick up in our heart when we see a child, thinking, oh, that's a child. We're gonna know, oh, it was that so and so in that lifetime, or going all the way back to Alexander the Greek. Oh yeah, that was that motherfucker then. Look what he did. This is what he did. Oh, there he is there right now. Get that little motherfucker. It's gonna be like that, Lord willing. Burn, let it burn, man. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Look at that. Beautiful, man. Esau, you're finished, devil. You better enjoy it. You got a little bit of a good job. A finance secretary that you're diddling with. Well, most of you Edomites are homos, so I don't know if you're going to do, if you are, you still like, some of you that still like pussy. You better deal with that, that concubine that you got, your secretary. Enjoy it. Do the lines of coke off her backside. Do that. You better do it because you're going to be no painkillers for you in the kingdom, boy. And you're not going to have no fine women to deal with. And you're not going to have no exotic fetishes that you can have in the kingdom either. Ain't going to be no Chinese women for you. Ain't going to be no Japanese women for you. Ain't going to be no black women that you can freak off with for you so-called black women. Ain't going to be no so-called Hispanic women to freak off with. You ain't going to have no Edomite women that, to deal with because you like that exotic look. You're going to stick with the Edomite woman. And you're not going to have the fine Edomite woman either. You're going to have all the ugly ones. Every bitch you're going to have is going to be 500 pounds, man. They're not 500 pounds. I'll make them 500 pounds. Every time you deal with them in the bedroom, I say, okay, he's going to deal with it. He's thinking about dealing with it tonight. I'm going to make her 500 pounds that night. Spiritual power. And she's going to smell. You're going to have all the curses on your women. They're going to smell and stink everywhere. And I hate these crackers, man. I don't like them. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshai, Bashem, Kakadash. Out with the old, in with the new. Down with Esau's kingdom. And Kwam Yasharala, man. Our kingdom is on the horizon and we can see it. All right? All praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshai, Bashem, Kakadash. Shalom.